Hey!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of JHR Backstage, the lovely companion podcast to the main show, James Rock.
Sure is.
That is now approaching 10 episodes already.
What, 10?
Yeah.
For season 4?
Yeah, the last episode that I think we just recorded would have been, I think, episode 8. So this would be episode 9.
Wow.
I believe so.
Jesus.
We're somewhere close to that, if not.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
But anyway,
Yes.
for today's topic, I was thinking we could kind of do a couple of different ones.
Yes.
Because none of them are really enough to fill a whole half hour on their own.
No.
But the one that I would like to start with is the genres that define us. And to define that, what I mean is the genres that we tend to flock to, like the two of us, you and I, that we've stuck with our whole life, or the ones that have like left our lives completely and we can't stand anymore, or like our guilty pleasures or something like that. You can go first if you'd like.
I mean, sure. So I'll also talk about like I guess
you can talk about the bands themselves too if you want while you're at it.
So I would say that my style of music is definitely electronic.
Mm-hmm.
If it has a synth in it, you've pretty much sold me. Like that's just a fact. Like I love a good drum line and like, you know, a good synth, and it's just, I don't know, like I guess to like put some bands to the genre, I like I'll shout these guys out because I don't know how much attention they get, but Xenon, it's spelled Xennon.
I might have heard of them, but only through you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like a Dark Distant World, I think is the name of their album. It is so
That's
good.
a dope album name.
Oh my god, dude! The album art for it, which
Yeah.
is something I want to talk about later on this podcast, is album art stuff. But their album art for that is even cooler because it's like a Star Wars type. Like the whole album is like kind of based around Star Wars. Yeah, go ahead and look.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up because who cares?
Really
You can keep talking while I look it up.
Yeah, but like vaporwave, electronic, like there was another word that my roommate used to describe my taste in music, but you see it?
Yeah, you had me listen to this because I remember this album cover. You had me listen to this. I liked this a lot.
Yeah,
I liked that a lot.
I love that band, and I think the 80s definitely has a strong influence in like the type of music that I like, and yeah, and it's funny because like all of my music is either like atmospheric or it's vaporwave or it's electronic music.
Yep.
And it's funny because the way that you described my music was like a weird mix between like late 80s and like current day vaporwave and electronic fused together. And I found that to be very interesting because like that it's interesting how like
it's mostly it's grouped in two groups. The actual 80s, and inspired by the 80s.
Yeah,
like,
true.
That's pretty much where you're at, because it's like, because even vaporwave and synthwave and stuff like that are both modern genres that are
80s.
Inspired by the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's true. I fit one of those. Two
80s
categories.
are inspired by the 80s.
It's true. But yeah, no, it's definitely electronic. I have other, obviously. I like jazz a lot.
You like jazz?
I really do, actually. I really, really like jazz and like lo-fi music. It's just so nice and relaxing. It's like some of my top genres, and it's funny because like I'll talk to people and I'm like, oh, I really like listening to jazz, and they're like, they do exactly what you just did. They make that joke, and like, but it's funny because I don't find a lot of people that actively listen to jazz, but like
I appreciate jazz, but I don't actively listen to it.
Bro, coffee house core all the way. That's literally my shit. I will look up like coffee house jazz. I used to do it all the time on my iPad in high school. Just plug my headphones in and be like, hell yeah. I'm sitting here writing my script in my fake coffee shop in math class. It was awesome. But like, yeah, so if you've listened to my music before, and everything will now just click. If you didn't know that before. So yeah, that's where a lot of my inspirations come from. So that's why a lot of my music sounds like that. So James, tell us, what genres are you?
So for a very long time, and it is still present, but for a very long time, my one and only was like late 90s into early 2000s pop punk. And for like most of my conscious life, I only stuck to that, and I was such a little music elitist snob for like most of middle school and stuff like that, which I regret deeply now. But like I was one of those people that like hated anything mainstream or like pop or anything like that for like the longest time. But yeah, no, I started out mostly from my mom playing it in the house with stuff like 90s and early 2000s pop punk. We're talking like Green Day and Blink-182 and Simple Plan and Yellow Card and All Time Low and like that whole group of people. And I still listen to all of them, but in the last couple of years, especially since going into college and all that, where I have a whole lot more time on my hands to listen to music while I'm like on the train ride there or whatever, I've run out of music, so I've just started kind of going anywhere.
Right.
And my music taste, especially in the last year, is all over the place now.
Yeah, mine has started scattering too recently. Yeah. So I definitely felt that.
The newest genre in my arsenal at this rate is what I have self-claimed as vibe pop.
Yeah.
Or like just vibe music in general.
I think I know.
And essentially what that boils down to is retail soundtrack. Like the kind of songs you would expect to hear in a retail environment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is. It's the same effect that you were talking about with like the jazz of like, it's just so unbelievably like happy and calming.
Oh yeah.
And which I know is why they play songs like that in stores to begin with, but like I work 2 retail jobs.
Yeah.
And now most of my music taste comes from either one of those. Yeah. You can catch me on my shift, and maybe I shouldn't be admitting this publicly, but like people have seen me do it anyway. Yeah. You can catch me on my shift with like my phone out with Google, like
Shazamming it.
Yeah, Shazamming it, like trying to find out what song it is. Like
that's amazing.
But yeah, I've self-proclaimed it as vibe pop because I don't really know what else to call it. It's that like slow, mellow style pop music.
Yeah.
It also ties into Instagram Reels too. That's the same kind of music that you see on Instagram Reels. Like, I love that stuff. I don't know what it is. I've been obsessed with it for so long now.
Another genre that I'm really interested in, and I love the name that I've coined it, but it's convenience store core.
Okay.
Which is essentially just like glorified elevator music.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you the perfect example.
Oh, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
More for the audience, but it's like if you've ever played Night of the Consumers, like that weird like indie game, that indie like quote unquote horror game of you working in a supermarket. The song that plays over the supermarket, I have an hour-long version of that on my Spotify, and it's so simple, and it's just like a song that you would hear in like a cartoon's convenience store.
Yeah.
But for some reason, music like that is just so, like no lyrics, just like jamming. Yeah. I was like, I live for this.
Oh yeah,
and it's so good. So I know what you mean, but it's like you hear it in a store, and you're like, man, I just want to vibe to this. Yeah. But I call that convenience store core. So you call it retail soundtrack.
Yeah. Or just vibe pop.
Vibe pop. Or. That's what
vibe
it was,
pop. Yeah. But yeah, that's been my recent love. Like I still listen to pop punk here and there, but like I've just been all over vibe pop lately. Although for like most of late high school, I was into like hardcore into lo-fi and vaporwave, and I still kind of like vaporwave, but like not as much.
You've betrayed me.
Well, like it's just not in my regular rotation anymore. But I still respect the genre greatly.
You better.
I love that. Again, it's the same kind of thing. I just love vibing.
Yeah, of course.
Like music to me is just vibe. Like that's what it is.
It's vibe essence.
Yeah. And the more your song can make me vibe, the better.
Yeah.
And lo-fi and synth pop and like trip hop and stuff like that can do that perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's why I love those genres so
but
much.
Yeah, it's so funny to me because like, and then like obviously I went through a really big dubstep phase for a while.
Really?
Yeah, which is actually what inspired DJ Witchcraft to begin with. I love like Dead Mouse and Marshmello and Daft Punk and stuff like that. Like, I mean, Daft Punk isn't really quite dubstep, but still, same point. Skrillex, all of that kind of stuff. Like,
I would like me some Daft Punk.
I would put Daft Punk more in electronica than dubstep. Those are two very different things. Like,
that would explain why I like Daft Punk.
Yeah, Dead Mouse, Marshmello, and Skrillex, though, those are dubstep. I'm
not as much into dubstep.
Love that stuff. Or I did, and I still listen to it occasionally. Like Ghosts and stuff.
Yep.
From Dead Mouse is like the best song ever.
Yeah,
like,
I've not. Dubstep is okay, but and like hard techno is all right too. But like, it's not. It's something that is a little too hard for me.
Yeah.
Which it's the same thing as like the only genres I actively don't listen to are country and metal.
Mm-hmm.
I like every other genre I'm pretty much fine with at this point.
Yeah.
I used to not like rap. I've come around from that.
I love rap.
Yeah, as long as you find good rap.
Yeah, you got to listen to the right rap.
Yeah. Mumble rap, I believe.
Mumble rap is what it was called. Yeah.
Like, I don't like mumble rap.
Me either.
It's not.
No, me either.
So
rap to me stands out so much because of like the lyrics.
Yeah.
And like the flow of things and like just the openness and mindfulness of the music itself. So like mumble rap took that and completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
By just repeating simple phrases, barely legible.
Yeah.
Like,
it's annoying as hell. I will say Hero.
Yep. Which who has been on the show and has been mentioned quite a bit.
He got me back into listening to rap. Because
I'm going to correct you for his sake, and I even
MC.
I was gonna say, and I even made the same mistake in the last podcast episode. Hero the MC.
Yeah. Spelled EMCEE.
Yeah, because you gotta optimize those SEOs, as we all know.
Yeah, that's true.
Search engine optimization.
I know what that means.
Which is why he changed from Hero the Rapper,
to Hero the MC.
Yeah, from Hero the Rapper to Hero the MC, because it made him show up a little bit better.
Okay. Interesting.
But
my name shows up instantly.
Well, yeah, because you have a very unique name. So do I.
Yeah.
But yes, back to what you were saying. Yeah, I showed you him.
Yeah, you did,
and got you back into the.
Yeah, because he opened up because, and this is gonna sound really silly, but the type of raps that he did was the types of rap that I would hear in like the Sonic Adventure games.
Yeah.
Because
well, I mean, so it rings true that Hero the MC does do primarily like he's very late 90s inspired. Which is sense. Also the same time period the Sonic would be pulling from for those kind of games.
Because they were made that time.
Yeah, they were made in that era.
So that I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying he's doing Sonic rap.
No, I'm more than well aware. But I was just explaining the connection for you if you hadn't put two and two together on that. Because like really, he's influenced heavily by like late 90s style rapping, which would have been around the same time that the Sonic games would have came out. So
all right, well now I know what to search for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing is that those Sonic Adventure games and the Knuckles stages that have like the raps in those were like, you know, not always the best, but like I liked them. They were tolerable. They had a really good flow. And then as I grew older, I started liking them a lot more and more and more. And then you showed me Hero the MC, and I was like, ooh. This is good. And like this is the exact same type of style. And so now that I know that it's 90s, I can look.
My personal favorite of the modern era is definitely Juice WRLD. He's definitely the king in my eyes of the modern era of rap music. Because I would say Post Malone's up there too, but I wouldn't even really call Post Malone rap. He's definitely got hip hop influences, but he has gone more into the rock side of things. Mm-hmm. Like he's more of a rock rap kind of thing now, or rock hip hop kind of thing. Juice WRLD is more what you would expect when I say rap.
Right, yeah.
And I loved his first album, and then Death Race for Love was pretty good, and then the posthumous release, Legends Never Die, was pretty solid as well, although you can definitely tell the incompleteness of those songs. But you know, he can't really do much on that note.
Yeah.
Rap is a big one for me recently, and that's really thanks to a great friend of mine that I met sometime mid high school. She's the really big reason that I got back into rap, because I did like the classics, if you will, like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Biggie Smalls and Tupac and all the people from the East Coast, West Coast kind of idea. But I hadn't really put too much thought into it, and I kind of had given up on rap because of mumble rapping, and I hadn't really taken the time to realize that there were still good rappers.
Yeah,
this one wonderful friend opened my eyes back up to that. The only genre that I don't listen to on a regular basis is country, but I have nothing against classic country like Johnny Cash and stuff like that.
There are some songs that are okay, but I just, at this point, I'm like, it's not my thing.
I think you need to listen to some actual country, because the country that you hear on the radio is a subgenre known as stadium country,
right?
Which is a pop infused country.
Yeah.
If you listen to
Taylor
some actual,
I think,
early Taylor Swift, and yes, that was stadium country.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, very early. That's Fearless. Like the original album was that. Mm-hmm. But no, you need to listen to some actual country, which is more like Johnny Cash and stuff like that, and people from his era. I'm not saying you'll love it, but I think you'll just appreciate the genre a little bit more.
Probably.
That's more my goal, not to you need to listen to country. It's just more like, if you want to appreciate the genre more than you do, you should go back to the actual country singers.
Like rap.
Yeah, like rap. Yeah.
I think the only one that I'm still hesitant with is, oh my God, what is it?
Metal?
No.
Oh.
Because even I can get over metal sometimes, just because it's funny to listen to sometimes.
I just know that's not a big one for you. That's why I said
my brother likes rock and metal and all those stuff, and we share some music interests, which is good. But metal definitely is one of my genres. But even if I have to listen to it, I'll find the humor in it because it's funny. But it's I forget what it's called, but it's when it's just the person and an acoustic. So
singer-songwriter.
There's a term.
There is
folk.
Folk works.
American, something.
I usually just call it singer-songwriter.
Yeah, it depends on how it's done. Like when Bo Burnham did That Funny Feeling, I liked that.
Yeah.
But usually I'm not a fan of that genre, depending on what the song is about. I've grown more appreciative of it now.
Yeah.
But that was another one that I'm like, eh. I think it's called folklore. No, that's something completely different.
Folklore is the name of a Taylor Swift album.
That's something
and
else.
Just a general term for
something else.
Urban legends.
Yeah.
But metal is one of those genres where live metal is fantastic. And even more importantly, metalheads are the best people I've ever met in my life. They are all the most kindest people I've ever met, which is the exact opposite of what you would expect from something like a metalhead.
Well, it's interesting because they aren't because the general public likes a certain type of music. Metal isn't really in that.
No, it isn't.
It's more of not a niche thing, but it's more of more specific audiences like that. And it's just interesting because, where all their aggravation's going. So, I mean, no wonder they're so nice because they can take out their aggravation somewhere else.
Yeah, but as far as I listening to metal on a regular basis goes, the only metal that I really listen to is metal that's been infused with other genres.
Right.
So I don't really like straight metal all that much when I'm not just seeing it live. I'm talking just listen to it casually. Mm-hmm. I don't like just straight metal all that much, but people like Volbeat and stuff like that are kind of a rock metal, right. A little bit slower, a little bit more calm, more lyric intensive. I like that a lot. I
also like the alternative genre a lot.
90s and early 2000s alternative is great. I love that string of in the pretty much throughout the whole 90s, I love that giant string of alternative bands that were one-hit wonders. Yeah. All of those one-hit wonders are fantastic. So, No Rain by Blind Melon or Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger. All of these songs you'll probably know if I play them for you.
Probably, yeah.
But because they're radio wonders, they're on the radio every other song. Just no one knows the name of the song or the artist because they literally released that one song and maybe one album and then disappeared forever.
Yeah, it's just funny because every time I look, I was like, oh, what genre is the song? And it's alternative, and I was like, what does that mean?
So alternative kind of means that you do whatever you want or you switch between a bunch of things, which is why I can alternate between rock or like pop or whatever. Like it kind of just goes wherever it pleases. That's kind of what alternative is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so like a lot of things can be put under alternative, and like usually it's paired with another thing like rock alternative or punk alternative or pop alternative kind of thing. Like it's based in rock, but it can kind of go wherever.
Yeah.
Like that's what that means.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, and I do love alternative and stuff like that. And like I said, a lot of those like "Hate Me" by Blue October, like all that throughout the whole decade of the '90s, it was the era of the one hit wonder where bands would release one song that was like on the radio every 5 seconds, and then disappear into obscurity for the rest of their existence.
Yeah, but they'd make cash off royalty.
Yeah, depends on the contract they signed.
Well, yeah, that's also true. Yeah,
a lot of bands don't make any royalties on any of that kind of stuff because of really bad contracts that were signed.
Yeah,
or like their discographies aren't even owned by them, which is a big one in the music industry. Like I know Paul McCartney's been in court for years now trying to get the Beatles catalog back in his control. Because right now Sony Music owns it. But yeah, Sony Music owns the Beatles library at the moment.
Interesting. Okay.
And the biggest hurdle from the one article I've read on it is so obviously John Lennon has passed, but his name is on everything, so he also has to be present in the fight for the thing. Well, so like it can then go to his estate or whoever owns all of the things that his name was on, which in this case is Yoko Ono, who hates Paul McCartney and like the entire idea of the Beatles. So like she refuses, from what I've read, and this was a couple years ago, so I might not be remembering everything perfectly. She refuses to cooperate with Paul to try and get John Lennon's, in air quotes, signature on everything, right, to try and pull all the rights back from Sony. So he's kind of fighting it by himself, even though it technically has to be the two of them.
Right.
But or whoever owns the rights, which in this case is Yoko Ono. But right. Yeah, it's a shame because a lot of bands like that fell into that because in the guise of wanting to be famous, they forgot to hire a lawyer to actually read their contracts.
Read the fine print, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I think my mom just read Keith Richards' book. He's the guitarist for Rolling Stone, and he said throughout like the Rolling Stones' heyday, between paying insane taxes in the UK because they were like horrible for performance taxes or whatever it was. Yep. Between the absolute terrible royalties he got and all of the taxes that they paid for like to do a tour, they only walked away with like, I think it was only like a couple $1,000 or a couple £1,000, like
right, yeah, wow,
like almost nothing, like for what you would expect, like
Jesus,
which is just insanity to me,
yeah.
Like. But yeah, the reason I don't like metal all that much, to go back to what we were talking about before that little tangent,
right,
is I'm a big sucker for production value, and metal to me, only certain metal doesn't apply to this, but metal to me for the most part sounds like someone recorded it on an 8-track videotape recorder in the middle of their garage with no mic set up.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that bothers me beyond means because I'm a sucker for that production value.
Oh yeah,
like
I sent you a song the other week that literally sounds like it was produced in like a cinematic, like music room.
Yeah.
And I was like it sounds like, what's his name? Owl City made it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, like I love Owl City so much.
Me too.
Whoever this new guy is, I love him too. And so it's just so, I'm just like, wow, like this sounds really like.
Do you remember the name of the band?
The new dude, I remember the song. The song was called "I Hear a Symphony." I can't remember.
Did you send that to me a while ago?
I did. I sent you 2 different versions. One was instrumental. One was.
Yes, I do remember that. I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet, but yeah.
It's listen to the one with lyrics. It's
the only reason I say what was the name of the band again is because Adam Young, the person behind Owl City, goes under like 6 different monikers.
Does he?
Yeah, oh yeah. So it might be him.
It might be him. It sounds exactly like
hiding
him.
Under a different name, because I know he used to release stuff under the name Swimming with Dolphins, and then he was a founding member and recorded I think an album or 2 with a band called Windsor Airlift, which is also still going just without Adam. And then obviously he's still doing Owl City. Cinematic only just came out a couple. Wow, actually, you know what? That was 2018, so it's been about 3 years already since the last Owl City album.
Cody Fry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of him outside of that one song. That name sounds familiar.
Been making rounds recently, but I found that one song and I was like, you sold me. I like this song. I have to listen to his other stuff, but like
I'm gonna have to re-dig up that link you sent me. Yeah, because I remember you sending it to me now that you mentioned you sent an instrumental and an actual version, because isn't it for that project we're working on in about a month?
Yes.
Isn't that what you sent it for me?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that text now.
Yeah.
But
I may change the song we used for that project, but I remember the original idea I had for that was that song, but I might change it. But yes, it was that song.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have a bias towards any particular genre anymore. I used to for a really long time. Like I said, I used to be a little elitist snob throughout middle school and early high school, and then was like, wait, that's very closed-minded, and like that closes me off to so much music.
Yeah.
Like, because like, you know, you can listen to the stuff you love a ton, but you're gonna get tired of it at some point. You have to move on to something else.
It's true. Yeah. Or at least distract yourself from it for long enough.
Yeah, that you want to go back to it again.
Go back to it, yeah.
But yeah, it's country's still like stadium country specifically is the only one I still have not gotten over yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't remember the name of the genre now, but it's that I think it's called trap music or something like that. It's like the Nicki Minaj's and stuff of the world, like, or Cardi B or something like that.
I don't like those either.
Despise that type of music because there's literally, and I'm sorry for the 6 different songwriters that are on one song on the album and the 7 different producers that had to make it happen. I'm sure you're all talented individually, but it should not take 6 songwriters and 7 producers to get a song that has 3 lines of lyrics throughout the whole thing.
I don't even.
I'm not naming
awful.
any specific songs, but that's pretty much how that whole industry goes.
That's
like
stupid.
You look at the credits to any of those kind of albums, and it's like, oh, look, there's 17 producers on this album, like,
cool, yeah.
and 4 to 5 different songwriters on every single song. Like,
God, Jesus Christ. I can understand that for my industry, which is like the animation industry, not the music industry.
Well, yeah, like obviously in other trades, they're all like. Music even is a collaborative trade.
No, it's just a collaborative trade, but not 17 on one.
Especially for like
thing.
The end result.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's like you're telling me it took you all of you to produce that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Not for like one song or like, you know.
Yeah.
No, I know it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
I know that, but not like that.
It's just one of those things. Like I hate the idea of just like throwing a pretty face with some auto-tune and then calling it a musician.
Yeah.
That's a lot of artists in the modern society, and I hate
sadly
and I hate to say that because it's being very judgmental to maybe a few of the people that I've mislabeled as such.
I'm sure there are people in the world who actually like the music.
Oh, there are plenty.
Yeah. But it's just the sad fact of life is that if you are attractive and can sing a little bit, then that's enough. Like
music won. Here's your trophy. You won music.
Yeah, congratulations.
You sped run music. Like
music.
You sped run being a musician.
Speed run. Yeah. Your genetics and genetics.
One of the people that I want to look into because like. I don't know if it's just one of those situations or if it's an actual talented musician, and I don't really want to make a judgment until I actually listen to it, is Olivia Rodrigo.
I don't know who that is.
She got really super famous off being a TikToker that sang music and then like got an actual record deal, and she just released her first album like not too long ago.
Yep.
And like I'm super curious. Like because it seems like one of those type of artists where like
different.
Yeah, it's like 6 different producers on one song for no reason. But like, I want to listen to it because I'm so curious. Because like she just kind of popped up out of nowhere, and I just heard that she was from TikTok, which
boy,
whatever. Like that's like it's just the media of the new generation. I'm not going to understand it. But
I've
become old already.
I'm on it and I don't understand it. I didn't even want one. I just I caved.
Yeah. I still haven't, and I it's not that I refuse to anymore. I just literally have no interest in it.
Yeah, no.
It's one of those things where
I don't use it to watch videos. I only use it to create. Yeah. That's it.
Anything worth me watching will break containment onto another platform.
Yeah.
That's essentially how that'll go.
Yeah.
It's
like fine.
But yeah, that's about time for us.
Oh, we were supposed to talk about album art. We'll talk about
that next week.
Yeah.
That'll be next week's topic of discussion. But thank you guys all so much for listening. We'll be right back here in the studio with you guys next week. Check out the main episode that will more than likely come out alongside this podcast. And thank you guys all so much.
Thank you guys. See you later.
Peace.